All right, howdy guys. We're gonna do another lesson here, another recorded lesson here. So, what I want you to do is make sure you got your big book. Go to page 19. We're gonna be doing the next lesson, which is 1.4. The lesson is called Greatest Common Factor. And it's lesson 1.4. Greatest common factor is also known as GCF. So it's like the brother or sister of LCM. So factors are numbers that are multiplied together to get another number. So for instance, factor... Oh, and make sure you have a piece of notebook paper too, because you're obviously going to need to do some work. So the factors of 2 are 1 and 2, because 1 times 2 is 2. The factors of 3 are 1 and 3, because 1 times 3 is 3. The factors of something like 4 are 1 and 4, because 1 times 4 is 4. And also another factor is 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. Same with like a number like 6. The factors are 1 and 6, because 1 times 6. And also 2 and 3, because 2 times 3. So factors, as you can see, are always going to be numbers that are equal to or smaller than the original number that you're dealing with. They are the numbers that you multiply together to get another number. So what I want you to do with your big book is I want you to look at number 1 on page 19. And it says list the factors of 12 and 20 and circle the greatest common factor. Okay, so let's do that. So you see something that looks like this on your page. And it kind of helps to work from the outside in. So you always start with a 1, because 1 times anything is going to give you that same number back. It's called the identity property of multiplication. So 1 times 12. So let's put a 12 out here. And then we also have 2 and 6, because 2 times 6 is our factors of 12. And then finally we have 3 times 4. So we have 3 and 4. So you see how we started out here, and then we kind of worked our way towards the middle. That is kind of the way that you do greatest common factor, because then all of these factors, all of these numbers right here, okay, they end up being all in numerical order. So let's do the same for 20. We have 1 and 20. We have 2. We have 2 and 10, because 2 times 10 is 20. And then we have 4 times 5. So remember, we're looking for the greatest common factor. So common meaning which numbers do they share? So for this example, I'm going to circle in green all the numbers that they share. So it looks like they share 1. Oh, they both have a 2. And they both have a 4. So we want to know the greatest. That's where the G comes in over here. So what is the greatest common factor? What is the greatest shared numbers between the two factors? That would be 4. So our answer for number 1, if we were writing down the GCF, would be 4. That is what GCF means, greatest common factor. So make sure you have that down. Remember, if you need more time, you can hit pause or go back. But just like yesterday, there is more to show you. There is another way that we can do this. And it's kind of similar to yesterday's L method or ladder method. So obviously, I love this way, because I told you yesterday I love the L method. So I love this way too. So let's try this way as well. Remember, this is number 1 on page 19. We're going to draw the L. So now we want to think of a number that is a factor of 12 and 20. Pretty much think of a number. What's a number that both 12 and 20 can be divided by? Okay, so write down what you think. If you're not sure, I mean, 12 is an even number, 20 is an even number. So when in doubt, you can always use 2. So I'm going to use 2 just to show you what that looks like. So we have 12 divided by 2 is 6. We're going to place a 6 below that. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So now looking at the 6 and the 10, those numbers are also even. They are both composite numbers. So that means I could further break down this ladder. I'm going to have to add another layer to my ladder. They're even numbers, so let's divide by 2 again. So we have 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So yesterday we made this into a big giant L. But for GCF, we're actually only going to take the numbers here on the left side. We're not going to take these bottom numbers. We're not going to take the 3 and the 5. The numbers that are only there, we're going to take those and we're going to multiply them together. And we get 4, which is our same number we got before. So there might be times, boys and girls, over here, in this spot over here, in this box, where there is only one number. If there is only one number in there, then that's your GCF. If you have more than one number in this vertical box, then you multiply those numbers together. So very, very similar to least common multiple. So let's try another one on our paper. We're going with the rainbow pen this time. Let's do number 2, which is your GCF. So on your paper, let's write down number 2, and it's 16 and 18. So let's put a 16 and let's put an 18. So let's do it the old school style where we list all the factors and make a circle, and then we'll do the L method, and you guys can decide which one you like better. So we can always start with 1 and 16. And honestly, we can start down here with 1 and 18. Those are the easiest factors. They will be for every single number, we'll have 1 and itself. For 16, we also have 2 and 8. And then we have 4 times 4. So we're just going to put 1 4 in there. And as you can see, my commas kind of got a little spaced out, but that's because I don't know how many factors I'm going to need. So I always try and give myself plenty of space when I first start. Next up, for 18, we have 2 times 9. Let's put some commas. And then we have 3 times 6. And that should be all of them. Now, we could circle everyone we have in common, or if we just see the ones that we have in common, and then we're just going to choose the biggest one that both of these lines share. So unfortunately, or fortunately, it looks like it is these 2's right here. So for number 2, our GCF, our greatest common factor is 2. So that would go in our book. So make sure you're writing it on your notebook paper, but then go ahead and fill in number 2 in your book. So remember, your paper and your book are working together as a tandem. Don't write in just one, because then the work might not be in the book, and then the answer might not be in the book and all that. So you're doing it in both spots. So let's do it another way. Remember I said I was going to do it both ways. So let's do the L method. So we'll get a 16. We'll get an 18. Let's see. Well, they're both even numbers. So when in doubt, even numbers divide by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 18 divided by 2 is 9. You look at 8, you look at 9. 8 and 9 don't have another common factor between them. They're not prime numbers. They just don't have a shared common factor. So we can't divide them by 1, and we'll just keep going on forever and ever. So we actually stop there. And if you remember, we only take the numbers in this column and we multiply them together. And actually, if you only have one number on the left, you got your answer already. So once again, your GCF is 2 for number 2. All right. So remember, our GCF for today, factor, think fewer. Fewer meaning lower or less. So all of our numbers should be lower numbers than the original numbers we start with. Like today, for number 3, we have 25 and we have 40. So if you guys get an answer that's like 100, that's wrong because there's no way your answer can be greater than, honestly, there's no way your answer can be greater than 25. So these are going to be relatively small numbers. Okay, so let's do our factors of 25. We have 1 and 25. Our factors of 40 are 1 and 40. Always start with those easy ones. And then what else are our factors of 25? 5 times 5. So actually, I had some weird spacing here because remember, I don't know how many factors I'm going to have. So you always got to start like kind of in the outside and like work your way in. So that's what happens. So remember 5 times 5. So I'll just put 1 5. For 40, I have 2 times 20. I have 4 times 10. Oh, and see now I'm running into a problem. I have 5 times 8. So you see the problem here is I didn't give myself enough room. So I actually got to give myself more room. So I have there we go. So if that does happen to you, just take your eraser like I'm taking my eraser and clean it up a little bit. Sometimes you got numbers that have crazy factors. All right, so now we're just looking out of the factors that they only share a 1 and a 5. So obviously our GCF here for number 3 is 5. All right, let's try the L method. If you want, you can hit pause and try and see if you can do the L method without me, and then check your answer to see if it is right. So let's put a 25 and a 40. Let's get our L. One ends in a 5, one ends in a 0. To me, that tells me that they're both divisible by 5. They both have a factor of 5. That's what I see. That's what I always use right away. 5s and 0s, use a 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And then remember, we're just using the numbers in this column. And whoa, there's only one number there. So we don't have to multiply. Normally, we'd multiply all the numbers in the vertical column for GCF, but we don't have to do that this time. So our answer is 5. And that is what we just said it was like 5 seconds ago. Let's switch to the Galaxy pen. Let's switch to the Galaxy pen. Hold on 1 second. Still recording. Okay, sorry. All right, just talking to Mrs. I in the middle of the recording. No problem, no problem. It's real life, kids. It's real life. Okay. I forget what I was gonna say. Number four. This time, let's do the L method first. So how about if you're playing along with me and you're a big L fan, why don't you see if you can do the L method before I can? I hope you all can at least write the numbers and make the L. I hope. All right, 24 and 40, almost the same numbers we had before. So you're racking your brain. You're thinking, what numbers can I use? There's lots of factors. But if you are in doubt, if you are not sure, you see that they are both even. Like I could use 4 here if I wanted to. That's probably what I would use. I could use 8 here if I wanted to. But let's pretend I can't think of any other numbers that could be divided by, that 24 and 40 can both be divided by. Let's use 2. Let's pretend I'm out of options. So let's put a 12 here. And then 40 divided by 2 is 10. All right, 10 and 12. Looking at both of those can definitely be divided by another shared factor. So, you know what? They're both even. So why don't I divide them by 2 again? 12 divided by 2 is 6. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now, 6 and 5, children, does not have any shared factors. So my ladder kind of ends there. I'm looking right here. I'm taking those numbers and multiplying them together. 2 times 2 is 4. Oh, you know what, kids? Hold on. So normally I'd probably recut this whole thing, but I made a little mistake. I wasn't paying attention there. So let me do that over again. We're going to just keep going, though. So we're going to divide by 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. I was right about that. But 40 divided by 2 is 20. I said it was 10 before. Oy, sorry. Now let's divide by 2 again. 6 divided by 2 is, or 12 divided by 2 is 6. 20 divided by 2 is 5. What am I? I'm doing it again, kids. Oh, yeah, way. Hey. Okay, 20 divided by 2 is 10. Hello. Welcome here, Mr. Zeke. Okay, now we can keep going again. Because 6 and 10 can be divided by 2 as well. So we have 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, no mistakes this time. Now let's take everything. Sometimes you might get a lot of numbers in this column. Let's take all that and let's multiply it together. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times another 2 is 8. So 8 is our answer. 8 is our greatest common factor, our GCF. Wowzers, just having trouble there. Couldn't get that one off the ground. So let's do the multiple or the factor way. For those of you that like the factor way. So we're going to do that. So 24 has lots of fun factors. You got 1 and 24. You got 12 and 2. You got 3 and 8. And you have 4 and 6. 4 times 6 is 24. And then 40, remember, was our big boy from before. So you actually could just look back at your notes and copy the factors that you had before for 40. Man, I'm doing it again. I don't know. I must have ate something bad. Okay, there we go. 40. And then we have 5. And we have 8. All right, so once again, what is our greatest common factor? You see, this one has an 8. This one has an 8. That is our greatest match. Obviously, we have 4s that match. We have 2s that match. We have 1s that match. But we want the greatest common factor, which is 8. We'll do one more. We'll do one more. And then I want you to try the rest on your own. That is number 5. And we're going to use some bomber blue this time. Let's do the L method first. See if you can do it first without my help. Set up the L method or the multiple method or the factor method, whatever you want to do. Let's see if you can get the answer. So hit pause and then come back, and then I'll give you the answer. Okay, you're back from pause, I guess. So your greatest common factor, I'm going to start by that, telling you what it is. It should be 7. How do you get 7? Okay, I'm going to do the L method first. All right, I see these. I know football, you get a touchdown, an extra point, you get 7 points. So when I see numbers like this, I know these very well because I know them from watching all these football games over the years. So 14 divided by 7 is 2, and 35 divided by 7 is 5. The 2 and the 5 cannot be, like, there's no other shared factor between those besides 1, so you can't go any further. We're just going to take this 7, and there you go. That's how you get your 7. Let's see how it's done the old-fashioned way. So you have 1 and 14. You have 2 and 7. You have 1 and 35. And you have 5 and 7. Your greatest common factor is 7. And yes, good. So there is, five examples for you to work with. You can play this back if you want. Watch it as many times as your little heart desires. Yeah, I think that's it. So what I want you to do now, I'll put the directions here, is why don't we do BB, page 19, and we'll do number 10 through 17. And I want to give you one more hint. Can a GCF, can it ever be 1? And your answer is yes. Sometimes the only common factor is 1. It is possible, and I'm going to tell you it's going to happen on this page, somewhere on page 19, you're going to encounter a greatest common factor of 1. It's a real thing, kids. So get ready for that. And the rest of the directions, I guess, will be on Schoology. So you obviously can talk to me on Schoology, or I'll be walking around the classroom. Good job.